Hey family, welcome back to my channel. It's Jasmine and it has been a minute. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update because I am coming back to YouTube. I'm so excited. This is the year I will be consistent, I promise. I've had a crazy past few years, to be honest with you guys. And I shared a little bit in an update like maybe about a year ago, just where I was at and like the things that I had been going through at that time. And so the last 5 years, and I know I don't owe anybody this story, but it's my story and I just want to share because I love you guys. And I know a lot of you guys had reached out during my time away and just like shared with me how you were praying for me and just waiting for me to return to YouTube, and all of that was super encouraging. And so to me, it feels like some of you guys really just feel like friends. And so I'm just like, oh, I want to share with you guys what's going on and what I have like going on in my personal life. And so I do keep the videos separate because I know not everybody's interested in that, but for those of you who are and like care about me as a person, I know that sounds weird, but I wanted to share some of like my personal journey and where I've been and just kind of like my heart behind why I keep taking breaks, or why I have in the past taken more breaks than probably the average person with an online presence that wants to actually grow a YouTube channel. Number one, I will say I'm not driven by YouTube and like the rules of like building a successful YouTube channel. And my heart was never, when I first started YouTube, it was never to like grow this successful YouTube channel. My channel was actually birthed out of, I don't think I've ever shared this story on my YouTube channel, but my channel was actually birthed out of hardship. And so I had gone through some really tough times. I was married previously, which if you guys have been on my channel for a while, you guys know that. But anyway, early on in our marriage, so our marriage from the start was very difficult. And so early on, like I had struggled really hard with the marriage and the relationship. And so we were separated probably about 9 months in. And I just was like going through it. And I was crying, like I would say for like a couple months just straight. And I would just be in my room with the Lord and listening to, if any of you guys have heard of a group called Upper Room, it's a church in Dallas where they kind of have an online like live stream of worship pretty often. I don't know if it's 24 hours a day, but it's pretty often. And so I would jump on and watch like their live streams in the prayer room. And so I would just like be weeping and crying out to the Lord, and I would listen to like some of their like pre-recorded songs as well. And so I was just spending all of this time with God and just kind of crying out to God because I didn't understand why my life felt so difficult. And so during that season, I felt like the Lord kind of shared with me, like, I want you to do something that you enjoy. And so it was his way of like leading me out of kind of a depression, I would say, that I was in, and like putting my hands to work and do something where I could encounter God. And so I was just like, well, I like to decorate. And so like, let's just start making over I was living in this garage at the time, and I was saying like, let's just start making over my space. And so it was something that I was doing with the Lord because it was like I was restoring old things. I was getting context for how God wanted to move in my life, and he was teaching me how he restores me, even though like I've been through all of these things that have like in a lot of ways felt like they destroyed me. Like the Lord was restoring me. And so as I'm like restoring old furniture and making over old spaces, I was like, oh, the Lord wants to make me new, and he can restore and do all of these things through a process. And so that process began, and a couple friends of mine were just like, oh, you should record it. It was like so like unplanned and like unorganized, to be honest with you. It wasn't like something like I really thought out, you know. I was like, oh, I'm gonna start this YouTube channel. It was like, I love this. It's something that the Lord has put on my heart to do, is like to like do something that I enjoy and have fun. And for some reason, I'm just gonna record it. And so I had confirmation from the Lord as well to like record it. So I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I didn't think beyond like my friends and family watching it. Like I didn't think anybody other than maybe my friends and family at some point would watch it. But even then, I didn't like share it on my social media or anything because I was like, low key, I'm gonna be honest, like kind of embarrassed, like because it was not like anything crazy special. So anyway, fast forward. as I'm doing this YouTube channel and like decorating, I felt like the Lord was working on my heart through the process. But I didn't think anybody would watch it, but like people started watching it, and I was like just to even see like 500 people watched my video, I was like, what is happening? Like, how are they finding it number one? And like, then people were commenting like how much they liked it, and so it was really shocking to me. But yeah, so that was kind of the beginning of my journey on YouTube, and as people started engaging and watching, it really sparked something in me to want to continue. But it never was something that I had set out to do initially. So as the journey began, then it became a desire and a passion for me to pursue. But with that being said, God has always been my central passion and my central one that I want to pursue. It's never been a job or anything like that, which for some people may sound kind of crazy and lame, but to be honest with you, that's kind of always been my journey with the Lord. Is like I've always wanted him more than anything else. And so fast forward, before I went through divorce, I felt like the Lord kind of speak to me and just ask me to lay down YouTube for at least 6 months. And I didn't know what was about to happen in my life. I had no idea at that time when he spoke that to me, but I had committed when he spoke and said, get off social media for 6 months. I was like, okay, Lord, like that's what I'm gonna do. And then shortly after that, I was led into a divorce, and that's super painful. And I don't even want to really speak on that right now, because I don't feel like I have the proper language to talk about it in a way that is wise in a mass setting. Like if someone talked to me one-on-one, I definitely will talk about it, but I don't think like this platform is the place that I would want to talk about such a sensitive topic. But anyway, so I walked through a divorce, and I'm so thankful that the Lord had spoken to me about getting off of social media, because I think a lot of times we push past, and I had done this also previously while I was married, like you go through some really hard things and you stay in front of people, and sometimes what you need is to be hidden. And I'm not saying hidden like hiding because of shame, but I'm talking about being hidden and just being with the Lord, like having a season where you're not under the pressure of like people peering into your life and making judgments on you, or even really having a say in what you're thinking or how you're moving, but like being able to be quiet before the Lord and knowing what he's saying and what he's doing, because it's so crucial for us to move by the Spirit and not by the flesh. And a lot of times when we have a lot of voices speaking into our lives, like we start to move from our flesh. And so it was just really important for me to take that time, which I didn't know at the time, but in hindsight, I'm like, wow, if I wouldn't have had that time, I don't know how things would have played out differently. And so one of the lessons that the Lord did teach me through that process was knowing the seasons and times, being able to discern the seasons and times that he has you in. And so I'm the most guilty of this is like not always, but a lot of times I tend to step outside of the season and time that God actually has me in. And so I will think I'm in a summer season when I'm really in a winter, or I'll think I'm in a spring and I'm really actually in a fall. And so what I mean by that is that I'll be doing things that you would do in a different season. So in fall, let's say it's a harvest time, it's a time for collecting. Whereas like in spring, it's a time for things to be in bloom. And so we're not picking them yet, but like they're in bloom. Or in a wintertime, things look dead, and they're just in hibernation, but they look dead. And so knowing what seasons and times you're in and not trying to go ahead of what God is doing. And so if I'm plucking things up when things are needing to be planted, then I'm outside of the seasons and times that God has for me. And so that's so important. Such a big point that I've learned in this last season. I'm still grasping. I don't want to say that I've fully achieved it. I'm always walking in the right spot, but I'm always very sensitive to the Lord and ready to be redirected if I'm like starting to step into the wrong season. I'm like, Lord, send these people. And I'm so grateful to have an amazing pastor, because he has really helped me a lot in redirecting me in the seasons and times. And so I'll try to step into something And him as my covering will be like, I don't think that's the right season for you to be walking into that. And so I'm like, oh, okay. Like, and I bring it back to the Lord. I'm like, oh, okay. So I know I heard you right about this specific thing. Like, this is going to happen, but what's the season and the time in which you want it to happen? And so that's such a huge lesson. I just hope that blesses someone today who's hearing what I'm saying, is that knowing the seasons and times that God has for you, you may have a very clear word from the Lord and know exactly what he wants you to do, but you just need to know what the season and the timing is. And I recently heard this week, which really blessed me, was that being in the right position when your number gets called. So it was an illustration about being at the DMV and like somebody getting out of line and missing when their number got called. But it's like when God has given you an assignment, he's told you where to be and when to be there, and then you're doing something else, which may be something else that's even still good, but you're not in the right position for where he's called you to be, like in knowing that you need to get in the right position at the right timing. And so all of those things, just amazing things that I've been learning. But yeah, back to what I was saying. So yeah, just YouTube has been such a journey for me, and I'm excited to be getting back to it, but definitely still keeping my heart and my mind open to what God wants to do. And so I don't want to make these crazy commitments that I'm like, oh, actually that's not where the Lord has me. But I really do feel called to this space and called to just be a light here on this platform. And so I just want to share my journey of like decorating and all of that stuff, which will be one thing that I do, but also even getting to share kind of this side of my life with you guys and like being open about my faith and just like my journey, because I think it's such a big part of who I am. And so there's both, and I'm grateful for the audience that's here just for home decor, because I love doing home decor, but I'm also grateful for you who are here that are just here to kind of partake in my life. And so that's what this video was. I just wanted to update you guys. I am back. I've walked through so much healing, and if you guys have any questions, I'm so open to answering questions or chatting about just whatever life things that you guys want to talk about. Yeah, this has been such a beautiful, painful, and hard journey, but I think just the beauty of getting close to the Lord through all of it is like something that will never get old to me, and it'll never be lost on me. I think I'm so grateful for the faithfulness of Jesus. I just want to say that here on my channel, like I want that to live here forever, because the Lord he's so good and he's so kind in the way that he walks through things with us. And I think just knowing that I had made some really major mistakes, and I made some really poor choices. And so it's just like knowing that the Lord still forgives and he still heals and he still restores, and that he can still turn everything around is really what my channel began with. And I think it's the thing that I want to live from with this channel, is that like the Lord restores. And so me restoring furniture and me trying to make old things new or give new purpose and new life to old items really began from me knowing that that's who God is and that's what he does. And so I'm like, oh, I want to bear his image in that way, where what I'm doing with my hands, like the things that I'm remaking, the things that I'm rebuilding, is really because I know that he does that. And it's a small way that I can reflect him in the earth, is like by doing that, seeing old things and being able to make them new or give new life where there's old life, or where there's things that have been dead, bringing them back to life, things like that. So anyway, decor is really special to me for a lot of reasons, and I think I don't typically get to talk about them in my videos, and maybe I will more going forward. But yeah, this all to say that I'm coming back to YouTube. I'm excited. I feel like a different person, to be honest with you. I feel like I died 1,000 deaths and I've been brought back to life by Jesus, because he's so good and he's so faithful. And just his mercy and his kindness never fail me. Every morning he meets me with new mercy. And I'm just so grateful to get another chance, that even though I've been away for a while, I still feel like I have the ability to come back and to do this again. And so even that is a testimony in and of itself. But yeah, if you want to continue with me on this journey of just watching me kind of grow into who God created me to be, but also decorating my space and sharing with you guys little tips and tricks for home decor on a budget. Please keep following and make sure to subscribe and like my videos and comment all the things, because it helps my channel to grow, and that's really what I'm on a mission to do this year. So I would really appreciate your support and partnership on that. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys, and I will see you very soon. I have a video coming up this week for you guys, so be on the lookout for that, and I will catch you on the next one.
We bring it back to life, taking it to brand new heights. Ashes get beautified.